We had a few special guests at Smithsdale Farm this week, but before we welcomed our friends Harriet, Mauro and Santi for the weekend, we had a few big jobs that we wanted to tick off the list first. We're Danny and Kate, and 4 years ago we bought an abandoned finca in the countryside in Spain. In 2023 we finally made the big move from the city to the country, and we've been slowly regenerating the land, planting new trees and growing our own food, all while renovating a 120-year-old house so that we can call it home. This week the kitchen has been through a major transformation. We wanted to try and make a big push forward so that we could really relax and enjoy time with our friends at the weekend. And while we waited for the recent leak damage to dry out, I suggest that you go and watch last week's video if you don't know what I'm talking about. We've decided to focus on jobs that are not affected by the damp brick in that wall. So we moved on to the top layer of the white lime plaster on the walls and started to thread some of the cables for the electrics.
So today we're going to look at the electrics. Katie's put the second coat of plaster on all by herself because she's my wonderful wife and saved my wrists. So now we've got that second layer on, we can plan out the electric boxes. We've put one set of wiring through with the guy that's going to do the electrics just to make sure things were feeding through correctly. But in the end we've decided we're going to put some earth lines in as well. In Spain it's quite common that an earth's not used. But as we're putting the electrics in, we're going to put an earth in and then we'll put a rod downstairs because that's how it should be done. So yeah, this morning we're going to feed through an earth wire through that one, and then on the other ones that are going down through the walls we'll just put the 3 wires through. You just want to make sure everything's good before we put on the last coat of plaster in case we have to pull out the tubing and redo it. I don't want to have the final coat of plaster on the wall to then pull out because something's wrong with the electrics. So we're not having like a formal extraction hood over the cooker. This is the hole that's left from the previous kitchen extractor. This hole's already here for air circulation, so we're going to put an extractor in there. Luckily it's a standard size, so we can just buy one. What I've seen online are you can get like cheap kitchen extractors that seem to work well. They've got the baffles on the back so they don't have any backflow. And then if you look on Leroy's website, they also sell them, but for maybe 4 times the cost. The cheap ones seem to be just a fan here. And then the expensive ones seem to be a fan that has a piece of, glass or ceramic in front of it, so you don't see the fan, I guess. So I kind of wanted to know if I'm just paying 100 quid for the glass panel that sits on the front. If anyone's got any comments on that, what the difference is, or am I just paying 100 quid for a small piece of glass?
After applying 2 coats of lime plaster as a base coat to these walls in the kitchen, now it's time to get on with the next layer, which should be the final layer before we paint, which is a top coat of fine lime plaster. The product that we're using is a KX16, which is a pre-mixed lime. It's a really fine powder, it's already got plasticizers in it, and it's good to go. We just mix it with water and on it goes. We've already used this product when we were doing our spare room renovation for the guest room upstairs, and it went on really nicely, smoothed down really well, and it's given a really nice finish in there. So we wanted to use that same product again on these walls in here. We're not expecting them to be absolutely perfectly flat. It's a rustic building, and so it should have a rustic look, and also it allows us to get things a little bit wrong along the way and not worry too much about it. So I'm going to mix up that first batch and start to get on with the sections inside the cupboard spaces and then move along this wall behind me here. Most of this wall you're not actually going to be able to see because there'll be a splashback, there's going to be the cupboards, there's going to be the sink and everything in here. So I wanted to start with that one first because if I make a few mistakes it doesn't matter too much before I move on to this bigger wall, which is going to be more of a focal point as you first walk into the room. So hopefully by the time I get all the way around here, it'll look a lot better. Let's get on with it.
Somehow, I managed to lose all of the video footage of this plastering, but as you can see, I managed to get quite a lot done. And then the next day, Danny and I continued together to finish the rest.
Till morning shows its dazzling blue. If you ain't coming, I hear the road. Butterflies in my heart, it's time to let them go. They don't belong here anymore. After all this lonesome traveling, tell me happened to be back home. But it just leaves me thinking all the places I'd like to roam. After all this lonesome traveling, to be back home. But it just leaves me thinking all the places I'd like to roam. If you ain't coming, I hit the road alone. I hit the road.
flower. It's going to be a leaf actually, sweetie. When Harriet, Mauro and Santi arrived at the weekend, we took the opportunity to have an extra few helping hands around and got a few jobs done up at the land together in the afternoon sunshine. You might recognise them from their own YouTube channel, Little Spanish Farmstead, where they're building a beautiful off-grid life on their 5-acre homestead just across the border from us in Valencia. While Mauro and Santi tested out the mattress in our cabin, and Santi gave it a napability rating of 5 stars with a 2-hour nap, Harriet helped us to plant some more veggies in our empty straw bale beds. We put in another succession planting of brassicas and some leeks. I'm amazed at how well it stores its water though, doing it like this. They've been doing really well. Because you put straw on top of yours, don't you?
I put straw on our beds, yeah. Yeah, it helps a lot.
Because there's been times that we've come up and it hasn't rained for ages and it still feels wet underneath. And we've put the irrigation on, but not a lot.
I think the irrigation in the spots really helps. I just haven't got... all our growing areas are just too dispersed to really... I might try again at some point.
We need to add a few more capillaries to this irrigation before we can turn this one on and actually use it. So we just watered in for today, but it's pretty much set up. We just need to add a couple more and then we can start using this like the others.
So we've not really had much more rain, but the RBC's running out, so we're going to pump out some more of the water, create a bit more space in the water catchment. Then hopefully in a few weeks, if we get rain, we've got more space to catch them in here. So something we've not tried before is taking water out of the cisterna and pumping it straight onto the trees along this bancal. So while we've been taking some water out of the IBCs, I'm going to have a go at that now and just give these trees a good water, because it's not rained in a few weeks, so it'll be good for them and it won't hurt us.
We have some wonderful neighbours and friends in the village, and throughout the orange and mandarin season we've been gifted boxes and boxes of them each week. So having successfully made some delicious limoncello a few weeks ago, we decided to adapt the recipe and have a go at making something that was a mandarin version. If you want the full recipe, it's all available on our Patreon.
With the little ones in bed, we tested out our homemade drinks and gifted a bottle to Harriet and Mauro to take home with them too.
It's good. It's
Okay.
good. Yeah. Yeah.
Tofu, what do you think?
Lemon. Yeah, also really good.
Alcohol and sugar.
We ended the weekend with a trip to La Rapita down at the coast. And I think that's where we're going to leave this one. So as always, we want to give a huge thank you to our patrons, everyone who watches, likes or leaves us a comment, and if you've made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.